Hey guys, today we're going to be making this chest. It's a great craft and just something to do if you're feeling creative. So let's get started. So let's get into it. Okay, what you're going to need is a box. It has to be clear, and then there's like a wooden board beneath it so you can put a picture in or something like that. That will be very important later. Next we have these flattened flowers. And lastly, we have these resin letter molds. They work with hot glue as well. And some paints. So let's get started. Okay, so now we are going to start painting this. I have some white and gold paint. The gold is going to be for accents later. So I have my paint palette right here. He's seen better days. So here I have my paintbrush. You can use a paintbrush or a paint sponge. I personally prefer the brush because I don't really like the texture of the sponge brush. So yeah. I'm just going to paint all this and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are starting to paint the box. I really like the size of this brush because it perfectly fills in the parts of the frame. Try not to get too much paint on the metal edges and the clamps and the lock and stuff. But if you do get a tiny bit, that's fine. Because we're going to fix that later on. I'm not going to paint the whole interior of this because of time, but I am going to do some finishing touches just to make sure it's concise. Just doing some finishing touches, paint. Trying to get to the bottom. Now what we're doing here is I'm taking a pen with no more ink in it and trying to scrape off the excess paint. The pen wasn't working, so I got the tip of a sharp, very sharp pin. If you don't trust yourself with these, I'd suggest you ask a friend or a sibling or a parent to help you with this. I'm just scraping off the stuff off the clamps and stuff. You don't want to get any on like the window. So now we're going to return our attention to the little wooden square that came on the back of your container. This is where the flattened florals come in. I'm going to gently take these out. Now keep in mind these are very, very, very fragile. One wrong move and they can just break in half, so you want to be very gentle. I should probably be using tweezers for this, but yeah. So you're going to arrange them on your canvas however you want, whatever you think looks right for you. This is going to take a while to figure out what arrangement I'm going to use, so I'm going to switch to time-lapse. See you there. I'm just carefully putting these on in the directions that I want them in. I plugged in the hot glue gun because we're going to use that later. Now we're going to start hot gluing the florals on. Try not to make the hot glue stick out too much. I'm trying to use the cover there to flatten them a bit. Keep in mind some of the edges, like the whole square won't be shown. Okay, so now we're going to do the letters out of hot glue. This part is optional, but if you like being a little extra, I definitely recommend it. I'm going to spell out the word love in these letters and paint them gold. Keep in mind these are really shallow, so I'm going to have to be careful about how much hot glue I put in. So it's definitely going to take a couple of tries, but let's get into it. So here we are on my first try. I keep hitting it so that it can sink into the molds. So this is on my first try trying to trim these things. They're very, 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 very tiny. So it's hard to get into all like the tiny spots, especially the inside of the O. I tried to use a straw early, you'll see that early on, to like kind of poke the hole out, because like the excess hot glue was very thin and it was spreading all over. So let's speed things up. So it took a couple of tries, but this is the final letters. You can't really see them because they're blending into the background. I'm going to paint these gold so they're a bit more visible on the box. We're just starting to paint the letters gold. It's very translucent, the paint. At this point, I was finger painting everything. From afar, it looks very shiny and finished, but it's really lumpy. So now we're going to turn our attention to the golden accents. I'm just going to do a tiny little frame around the flowers in it. So be sure to check out this video my second video if you haven't already. So here we are starting to do the process. I'm setting up some tape so that I won't get it on the rest of it, and now I'm putting some on the inside so it doesn't get on the window for the flowers. I started off with this very translucent gold paint, and I added a bit of tan to it just to make it a bit more brighter. Now we're removing the tape and scraping off some pieces that got on the window. So now that the accents and the letters have been finished, we're just gonna put them together. So here we are. I put these on the first time and I had to rip them off because they weren't centered, which probably didn't end so well considering that some of the accents got stripped off. But I just ignored it and moved along. I'm sealing this all in with a coat of Mod Podge, and then I realized my brush was dirty and I had to change it. I finished it up off camera, and here it is. I love how it turned out. It makes great room decor and it's very practical. So here's the final product. If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. You can also check out all my other videos as well. Be sure to hit that bell so you can get notifications every time a new video is posted. Thanks for watching. Bye!